Me.
Welcome. Happy to have you. 96, Jews and their role models. So do Jewish girls have role models, Paige, like except for Rebitz and Kanievsky?
Good question. Let me think for a second.
Yes.
I guess they do. I mean, definitely when they're younger, there's definitely more role model that they, I guess, girls in general look up to. When you get older, things change, people change, role models change.
Like when you were in high school.
I'm trying to think.
Or when you were in high school, right?
I don't know if
or probably even like middle school. Think when you get to middle school, that's when it starts. Like you're in junior high and 6th grade, you're a part of like every Jewish yeshiva day school, like gives 6th through 8th a name. We were in South Shore, we were like Mechanech division or something.
Yeah.
And what? Sounds like someone's whistling. We were like that division, and we were grouped with the 7th and 8th graders. And I remember there was an 8th grader who was grouped with, and it was like, oh, this guy's a cool guy, role model. Mm-hmm. There you go.
Right.
Besides for the movie, which was great. You ever see the movie? Anybody?
Nope. Oh, I guess what you're calling in South Shore, like they had by us, like little sister, big sister.
Yeah, something
That's
like that. And in high school, they have that also. Like when you start out as a freshman, they pair you off with a senior. Yep, and they do it. So, how about you?
I guess I'm a little different. I'm not going to say like I had one role model. There were definitely people and teachers and elders that I did respect and like, but I wasn't never like, I want to be like that person. That's just my experience.
At least like in school, in the school
in the school years, in the, school age. I think more after seminary, it was more like I looked up to people like as a whole. And maybe I like wanted certain things that they had or, wanted to emulate them in certain ways. But I can't think of even one person that, like, it's like, that's who I want to be like. That's how I want to live my life by. Like, that's just my opinion. My experience. I don't know. That's just me.
How about our guest?
Yeah, I mean...
How long have you been dating for?
2 years.
2 years, so 2 years, pretty novice in a bit, right?
Yeah, I started a little bit late.
Okay, whenever you start,
I was just kind of taking my time with things until I kept pushing it off. My parents would ask, "Are you ready? Are you ready?" And I'd be like, "No." Until one day, my mother sat on one side of me, my aunt on the other, and they held me down, and they're like, "It's time."
Oh wow!
For real, this really happened. I tried running away. I was like, "No, not yet."
And you're like,
yeah,
all right,
I was like, all right, time to start. But yeah, as far as role models go, I mean, I'm not sure that I would have one specific person like, okay, I want to be exactly like them. But there's a lot of people in my life that I would love to try to be like in different ways. When I was younger, I always looked up to my sister.
Oh, that's good.
My siblings are all a lot older, so... she always had it together. She still does. In every way. She got a job when she was young. She always had a lot of friends. She was always confident and successful in everything she did. And yeah, she was one of my big role models when I was younger. I mean, she still is today, obviously. But as you get older, you realize that there are things that are even more important. And then you look at people who are parents and stuff like that, and then you get your role models. It changes a little bit.
Oh yeah, having a sibling as a role model is that's a blessing. Yeah. Simply said, blessing.
My siblings are.
You have older siblings. You said Paige has older siblings. I don't know. I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest, right?
So you find someone to kind of fill that spot in a sense. At least that's how I handled it.
Have you? Found someone?
Up until
I'm saying when you were younger.
Yeah, for sure. You know a few of them.
Don't drop any names yet.
Oh, God, watching this other podcast, and they have like these crazy buttons, like say what, so like stuff like that. But these are like role models. They're good. They're good to have. They kind of solidify who you're trying to be.
Right.
You work hard to be more like them, the good at least, and that's what you're going to see. You're going to see the good, maybe sometimes the bad. But does it take a role in shidduchim, Paige?
Yeah,
it has an effect, of course,
because you're comparing your date to either your role models or the traits of your role models that you're looking for yourself to be or for your spouse to be. So very much so. I
don't think it's like a farcical thing. It happens, common.
Yeah, right.
That's very true. I find thinking like, oh, my brothers would never say such a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really true.
But it's probably not the best way to go about dating.
For sure.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking just in general because
they for sure have an effect, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
When do you realize like it's not? It could be different for you.
Because you're the role
unless
model.
You're exactly like the sibling, right? Think about that. If you're exactly like the sibling, okay, makes sense. I guess whatever worked for her will work for you. That's if they're also the same gender.
Right.
It's like if I had a big sister, I'm like, whatever she's looking for, like it's not gonna. You got to guess be obviously same gender, or you could really also be like same, or looking for the same gender.
Well, also same time.
Well, not necessarily. My brothers are big role models, and I do want to be like them, even though I'm not a guy. There's a lot of things about them that I really aspire to be like.
Traits?
Yeah, traits. And it's not, I don't think it's like a guy-girl thing. They're both like such excellent spouses and fathers and friends and brothers. Like they each have a lot of qualities that I would love to work on.
For yourself?
For myself, yeah. Not that I'm like looking for that, but yeah, I don't know if it's like a gender thing. A gender-specific thing. Of course, in a lot of ways, you're never going to be the other gender.
Yeah.
Stop right there.
No, but there's certainly a boundary you got to have because you're not going to get everything. Like if you have an older sibling who's different gender and, you're gonna probably garner some ideas, like it's gonna promulgate in your mind to think, hey, maybe that's what I need someone like that. I got along with my brother, all that. It was Rizelle Neymark who actually came on the podcast. I haven't mentioned her like 100 podcasts probably, and you're here, I know you I don't know, she bumped into you at a smorgasbord or something.
I've dealt with her before.
So it was Rizelle who was saying like, you want older brothers good things, but what about what about your brother's flaws?
Sure,
what about my sister's flaws? What about if I'm comparing, the same? Like, what about the flaws? The flaws are going to be there.
Right. And that's why I think that when we have a role model, it's not that we want to be exactly like them or we're looking for somebody to be exactly like them. It's that they have qualities you admire that you want to emulate because they're admirable qualities and you're aware of that and you're aware that, oh, I wish I can be a little more like that in this sense or in that sense. But not that you want to be them or you're looking for somebody exactly like them.
Right.
That's just my thought on role models.
Yeah, I'm not looking to, necessarily parse through every little nuanced detail. But, you'll get the big five on each side. There's negative, everyone has bad about them. Like,
sure.
I'll be the first to admit, like, I'm just, but no, Paige, what was that?
No, I think the qualities, all right, you're saying about certain traits that you want, either to be like or to appreciate in another person. It is, I find like I relate the trait. I think through why do I want that trait, either to be that way or to find someone with that trait, because how is that going to play out in life in general as their role as husband, as father, as partner. So it's not just the actual trait. Oh, because being nice, for example. Okay, everyone likes to be nice, but how is that going to play out in life? Too nice? Do you want someone with opinions that is like holds their ground and will speak their mind, how is that going to play out in your life? Are they going to stand up for their kids when something happens at school? Are they going to speak up on your behalf if you have an issue at work? So for me, it's like not just, oh, I like someone or I want to be grounded and outspoken and share my opinions and hold true to myself just because it sounds like a good thing. You know, you're happy when you're doing that. It's because the way I want to leave my life or leave my home, family, it involves that trait in a person. So that's what I was.
Could there be any harm though to that?
Well, thinking too much.
I mean, you're a young person. You're only like, hey, that's, you know. But I mean, whatever. I don't want to kind of deviate too much because I want to kind of stick to the role model topic. The whole sibling thing we've done a few times, but we got to definitely do like a follow-up sibling thing. What about like non-Jewish role models? Non-Jewish role models. I'm sure you've had. You're smiling. You probably had. You must have had at least one. It was probably Oprah. All right, it was clearly Oprah.
No, it's just interesting because I was thinking about this the other day, how we learn, there's so much to learn from non-Jews, obviously. I mean, there's experts, there's doctors, there's scientists, and so the one thing I was thinking about is is on Instagram. I love watching parenting videos. So, and they also just like pop up because Instagram knows. And there's some like amazing stuff out there, and I'll like write them down and take notes. And then I also feel kind of weird because like I have the sefer from Rav Solomon on raising children from a Torah perspective, and it's like I was like for a second I'm like maybe I shouldn't be listening to them, but they do have excellent ideas, and it's not like I want to be the person again. It's the advice they're giving, the quality they have that you're like, oh cool, I kind of want to work on that and be a little more like that, but again not like be that whole person.
That sounds good.
So yeah, I mean, you can have a non-Jewish role model. Again, you're not looking to become that person. You're just.
Well, you were in that case because you're reading parent books. You're like looking to.
No, there's good tips that they have. There's good advice.
But to be parents,
I don't want to be like that person just because they give good advice.
Yeah. There are a lot of young people who are they're looking for a role model. But old people also, like, let's say for me, for example, I'm looking for a role model in life right now. I literally have one person.
You have someone in mind? Just
one.
In what way? Role model, like?
Just how it actually happens to be a girl. Yeah, that's right. How like she.
In the business sense?
Almost everything. I mean,
really?
But the thing is, she's a woman, and she's, she has a husband and a family. It's crazy. She's a husband and a family, but that's like the only person I can relate to. Not relate to, sorry, but like I want to strive to be like I like her thinking. We worked together in business. I was very impressed. And, I've been over for Shabbat and I'm like, wow, like this is like someone who's like on top of her stuff. Like, she knows what, and for me, so I'm not subjected to, a gender. It's not like I was looking, for specifically a girl, it was just, we were working together and I was like, hey, this is like, this person's like good in thought mentality, knows how to have relationships, business relationships, friend relationships, and inspired me to do a lot of things. Inspired me to do a bunch of things. Decorate this podcast studio. Okay, like just a bunch of things.
Really?
Yeah.
But you know what they say about married people? I don't know how long she's married for, but I'm assuming more than a couple of years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So they say that through marriage, though, people change. So it's like
nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with this. You don't
think this has nothing to do?
Nothing to do with
and
I probably I've eaten at like.
She was like this all.
I have eaten at 1,200 Shabbat house. Shabbat tables. Haven't for a while, and like this is the only place that I went to, and it was like normal and calm. Oh. Everywhere else, it was a mess. It was just a bloody battle. And for me to like do something like that, now it's a statement. Back then I was like, I was one of these yeshiva freeloaders. Like, yeah, you take me for okay, great, all right. You're serving sand and oyster shells without the oyster. Okay, great, I'm coming. Okay, Nechama, how you like is well, that's not a goyish one, but that's an opposite gender one. So you could listen to the rabbi you were mentioning, Matis Yahu. Like, got some good music, that guy.
Don't compare.
I don't know about. I heard it's good stuff.
Don't compare the two of them.
I'm like amalgamating them just by the name, So Paige, would you ever have like I think it's more accepted for a woman to have like a guy role model.
Probably.
Right? Like that's probably more accepted than a guy to have a female role model.
Yeah, because you have guys lecturing women. You never have a woman speak in front of a
group
of men.
Yeah.
Though guys
but that's changing.
The guys
obviously,
are coming into the ladies
Olam.
section. The women never go there. Like
double standard, bro.
The
double
guys are the doctors, degrees, the business leaders, and then you have like the women, like they can't coach men. You just don't have that happening. So, in a way, you're exposed to a lot more men and qualities and what they have to them as a woman than men are exposed to, the other way around.
I should have done something in the beginning here. I totally forgot to do. In your own words, tell me what a role model is to you, Paige. You're the
guinea pig.
I could go first.
No, it's a good question. And by the way, the first thing I said was all about how I viewed a role model or how I understood that word to mean. So why don't you go first, and then I'll tell you one after.
Role model is someone who you're looking to replicate, who's inspiring you, who you strive to be. Person you can go to for advice indirectly. So you can listen to them on YouTube. You can watch them on TV. Doesn't have to just be actually calling them or texting them or communicating with them directly. It could be indirect. That's a role model. You're taking some parts of how they do things in life, how they carry out their way in a perfunctory way. You want to attain that. That's to me what a role model is. So, and this person should have good influence on you. Mm-hmm. They will have only good influence on you. You can maybe see their bad, but you'll also be able to
the
ascertain
overpower.
Yeah, how they handle things, etc. Mm-hmm. I have maybe like one other person also now in my life who's also a little bit of a role model. He's much older than me, and opposite background, and he's not Jewish at all. Just like he just really inspires me. He was a teacher actually, so he was a professor. Happens to be. I know him by his first name, and we just chill. But it's interesting also. So he was a businessman and a real teacher. I taught like a real like fancy schmancy high school. So and so it's weird. Whatever it happens to be. Look, there were times in my life where I had role models who were rebellion and camp counselors. Camp counselors is the big one, But okay, I'll get back. But Paige, tell us what a role model is to you.
Well, I think like.
Google says, Isaac, Google says.
As a younger adult, I think role model, like the first time you hear that word, that's the definition that sticks with me, which is why in the beginning I said, like, I don't have like one role model. Because role model to me always meant you want to be like that person in its entirety. You like the way they deal with people, the way they lead their life, the way they present themselves, and that's why that's your role model. And for that reason, I never really had one role model. Or a, particular one. For me, I don't know if I always saw, but definitely more recently, I see people as a bunch of parts, made up of a bunch of parts. And for me, I focus on like the positive in the people. And I'm like, do I want to be like that person in that way? Or another person in another way? So role model to me was a person in their entirety. But
everything, huh?
Right, but I I like to look at people, you know, the way I look up at the people now, it's more out of respect. I aspire to be, and you know, to have their traits that they have throughout life and how they lead their daily life, their home, their family, their relationships. That's what I see as my role model.
Yeah.
Different parts of different people, not any one person or two people.
Is it always changing with you, or is it?
No, I have some people because.
Wait, so you're telling me you have had someone who's been your role model for like the past 20 years?
No. I'm saying that I haven't had that one person.
I
look. Yeah. No, I don't think
Hashem is the one person. You know, that's like the one. You know.
No, I just like. I never like. I feel like I see a lot of parts to a lot of people, and I never thought like, oh, this one person, this is the one I want to be like.
Is it because they show it though, or are you like?
I'm just very intuitive, and I'm just like very perceptive, and whether they try to show it or not, I think I pick up on it. So now, later in life, it's like this trait that exemplifies this person. That's what I want to try to be like, and you know, improve on in my life. Or this person, how they relate to their family members, spouses. I want to try to learn from them and be that way in my home. That's kind of how I take it.
Have you had someone who was actually a shidduch dater? Because I remember that was a big thing.
What do you mean?
A shidduch dater, like this person was your role model while they were shidduch dating. Like I actually had that.
What do you mean by that? While I dated
like
them?
You just started shidduch dating.
Yeah.
And there's a girl who's shidduch dating, you know, and she's a, you know, you just get into the shidduch core.
Okay.
And your role model is also shidduch dating. And like she's giving you advice, you're talking with her. Is that gonna get messed up? Is it gonna be?
I don't know.
Is there any good outcomes there? Could there be any ramifications?
I would think so. I don't think I had like a role model for shidduch dating, like the way you're describing it. Also, like I was more of like a private person when I was dating. Well,
Ooh,
in general,
so you didn't like open yourself up to having a role model
in that way.
No, more private.
Yeah,
because a role model you did like.
No.
At least in shidduchim, you know.
Now it's different, but years ago I was more
I think
private.
a kind of shadchan or dating coach be
a role model.
Yeah.
See, I wouldn't term them role model.
I mean, if you want to be a shadchan dating coach.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't, not as a role model. No.
I could see. I have
friends.
If they would, they'd be pretty ossified.
That I respect and all that, but like I don't term them role models. It's just
what is it to you? Tell me. What is it to you?
I don't know if there's a term. It's just I respect
representing the ladies out there.
I don't know. I don't have a term for them.
I think you're saying it well. That she knows what a role model is, and she's saying that she respects different qualities about different people, but there's not one person that as a whole being you want to be. Oh, that person right there you single out and you feel like that's who you want to be.
So is there a term for what I'm saying? Respecting this and aspiring for that in different people.
Respect. I mean, somebody
respect,
that you highly respect. Yeah,
no, and you're right, because you know why? Someone you respect for a reason, and that reason is usually something that, how do you say it? Like you want to be like. So yeah, I guess respect.
Interesting.
How about you, Nechama?
Well, I mean, I agree with both of you about what a role model is. I think we established what it is. But I
have
also
to say what it is. Like, give us the exact
definition in your mind.
Yes.
Okay, in my mind, a role model is someone that you look up to and you appreciate the way they do things, and respect them so much so that you want to be like them in the areas in which you hold them in high regard. So not like you want to copy that person, but you admire the way they do something or the way they feel about something, and you want to be like them in that way.
Actually, now that you're speaking, defining it that way, I don't have, I'm just thinking of someone that came to my mind, and I respect them a lot. But the funny thing is, I don't aspire to be like them.
Right.
But I respect that they respect our differences, and we can communicate and talk about it and come to an understanding of our differences, but no one's trying to shame anyone, and we're both good. and there's good to every part of, you know, what trait or belief or whatever it is you are, like, you hold and believe in. I don't know. I'm just thinking of someone right now.
That's a great point, because you can respect someone tremendously, and at the same time know that you're never going to be like them. You
Or
respect
even
how
maybe-
they do things, and they respect how you do things, and you can love the person, but they're not your role model.
Like,
So that's a really good point.
Sounds like
Thank
a friend, a close friend.
Yeah, but
Not
maybe someone who's
necessarily.
like
An advisor.
further in life.
No, not an advisor, because then they would be your role model if they're advising you.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
Why would you go to an advisor?
I have
and not, like, listen to
I have
them?
a board of advisors: legal, tax, finance, intimacy, dating.
And don't you feel like
Some of them are my friends. Some of them are not my friends.
Right.
And certain none of them are my role models.
Right, exactly. They're not your role models, but you're gonna take their advice if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
hire them or whatever.
Yes, but I'm not gonna. They're not my role models though.
Right.
But it sounds like
It's not
but see,
the-
I feel like that's conflated in the Jewish community because everyone's so on top of everyone. So like if we know, let's say you and I know Charlie, and I said Charlie because Charlie could be a girl's name or a guy's name. So they're like, oh, who's off the Derech one? Is it him or is it Nechama? Okay, so you and I know Charlie. Okay, now we've met. You and Charlie have met a few times.
He's moving, by the way.
Oh, get out of here. You and Charlie know each other, right? You know each other for friends, whatever. But you're like friends from a distance. You don't really know each other. What Paige was describing, that's a real friend. That's a close friend. That's how I translate these things. Like what you're naming to me is a real true friend. Someone who you can take
I guess
advice.
You're right.
Someone you want to spend time with. Not someone who I'm bumping into Kiddush Club twice a week on Friday night and Shabbos. Like that's not a real. That's not. Oh, I know the guy. I don't know the guy. I don't know the person. You know. Right. It was like I was at like some shidduch round table the other week, and I'll tell you it was crazy. I like to get this random text from this woman, and she's like, "I want you to. I got your resume from my network, and I'd like to set up a Zoom with you." So I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "We could set up a Zoom. Like, you want to."
Do you want to
Talk
talk
first
my
on the
podcast?
No, I was just playing it like, hey, cool. Like, let's give it a try. I haven't done something like that in a while. So she messages me, and we do a little phone call. It goes well. We set up a Zoom. She's like, my Zoom's going to be with my, partner, Shadchan. So we do the Zoom together. I handle it pretty well. And during that Zoom interview, she's like, have you ever went out with so-and-so? And I'm like, I've heard of her. We've hung out before, but I don't know her.
Right.
She's like, oh, it's funny. She says she knows you. And I'm like, I said, I'm sure she said she knows me, but I don't know her. She doesn't know me. I'm sure we've heard of each other, but I don't know her. I've never had a real conversation with this girl. Mm-hmm. And so the shotgun lead is like, that's an interesting way of putting it. I'm like, I mean, I'm not looking to get into some linguistic joust or play around with the word argot. Like, hey, because I don't know the person.
Right, to different people.
It's like, I'm not going to say that's my friend.
Right.
This is my friend.
She's missing.
We're not friends. I don't,
Right.
I don't know her.
So funny how we all define
There's a
the
word
words.
that I think the girl should have inserted there. I know of him.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Of, you've met,
Right.
you've seen.
You know of
in
him.
some like
That's what I
communal
right.
place. I don't know that.
That's a good way to phrase it. Like, and that's how I said it as well. Like, I think in a follow up, I'd say, I know of her.
Right.
I don't know her. Oh, well, she knows you, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well,
There's also
she doesn't.
some people that
Right.
feel like they're connected right away, even if you don't. A family member of mine once came home from shul and said, I met your uncle. And my sister said, oh, how do you know it? Like, how do you know him? He's like, yeah, we're friends. My sister's like, from when?
Yeah.
He's like, just now. We just met.
Just met.
We're friends, right? You met.
And in his mind, like, we really are friends. We just met. And to us, it sounded like, oh, how do you know him?
Right.
That's like a big thing in the Jewish community, though. And in a lot of cultures, I have an Iranian friend, a Moroccan friend. They'll probably say this. I have black friends. They'll say the same things. They'll say, yeah, he's a friend of mine because we have the same culture, we have the same community. There's so much there that all I really need to do now is, do I like you? And then bam, we're friends.
Right. Also, a friend for a guy to guy is very different than friend, girl. To girl.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, totally.
So there's not that many. There's
and a
just
friend
like
for a friend for a guy, a Jewish guy being friends with a Jewish girl is also a different relationship.
Right. But then also depends on the circles you're in. What does friend really mean?
I know what is friends, but that's how I see it, because I feel like I think it's really conflated a lot. It's like, oh, I'm friends with this guy,
but we all define it differently,
But I'm only saying it in terms of like the role model, because like of what Paige said. I'm not like here to talk about like, oh, what is a true friend? Maybe we should make the podcast.
Yeah,
saying like this sounds like a friend what you're describing to me, or like a good friend, a true friend, something like that.
It is, but it's someone who's.
You know what like a role model is? Like a role model is like,
no, but but this person that was
that's my role model,
Right. Think of the word.
Rabbits and
maybe young adults have
Rabbits and Schmeckelberg
have role models. I don't have a role model according to my.
Do you think that's conventional with like girls your age and your situation?
My age, I don't think anyone has role models.
In just relevant to the shit world. Hey, our audience wants to hear, and now the camera's back on you. Nechama, go ahead. What did you have to say?
Share, speak your mind.
Can I have a little bit of water?
Of course. Hello, for sure. Yeah, do that. Yeah, you got the cups. Okay, you get the glass cup, whatever cup you want. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so what about having like a non-Jewish role model? Have you ever had something like that, Nechama? You seem like an open-minded individual.
That's right.
Do you have you had one before?
I still don't know what you guys are talking about. Kidding.
No, a role model.
According to your definition.
According to my definition, no, I've never had a non-Jewish role model. I've seen qualities, like, again, you see videos and you see educational articles or whatever, and you're like, hey, cool, I like how they do things. I kind of want to be like that more, but not, I don't know.
I guess a role model, I guess
I
I'll
think
help
it
you
sounds
out.
like you're saying you appreciate, respect, and you agree with their teachings. And it's like, oh, I'm gonna
and follow in their footsteps.
Yeah.
Although that doesn't mean that those are their footsteps. That's just what they're preaching. You don't know what they live.
I'll help you figure this out, okay? I don't know if you live at home, but when you go home, or if you are home is in where you grew up, right? For like Shabbat, okay? And I don't know if your family structure situation, but like, let's say you have a parent there, or there's a male is there a male at the Shabbat table? No males.
Not at mine.
But no, not like yours, like your family's.
Where I grew up, I mean, not in yours, but.
Right, not for yours. Yeah, no. So like, basically, a male will come back and he'll say like, I went to shul and Rabbi so-and-so said this and now we're doing it. So for this guy, his rabbi is like his role model in a sense. Right, Paige?
Am I supposed to agree with you? Because I don't.
You don't agree?
Maybe that's your definition of role model. To me, it's more
well,
like, okay.
Not me. No, not for me, but
not for me either.
You're looking to marry a guy, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Is that the relation? Is that the role model relationship? They're going to have? Like, what do you think?
They're going to.
What role model do you want him to have?
I want him to have a Rav, someone he respects. Not to say that it's his role model, because I'm not going to want to live the life of this rabbi. I want to live our life, the life we choose. But for guidance, I want someone that we both respect. I
totally get it. That's awesome.
Yeah, but it's not like you just because you like that Rebbe or that Rav or that advisor or whoever it is you look up to, I'm not looking to, duplicate or replicate whatever he lives by. It's like those choices will happen between us. If we have a question and, from experienced person, yeah, go talk to them. But
it's like the rabbi is like trying to sear something, troubling or something with the guy. But yeah, that's fair. That's a fair thing. And what if his what if his role model is a non-Jewish person?
Listen, non-Jews sometimes have wise things to
They
say.
do. Oh, dude, way more.
So I'm not,
way more.
It's really
way
about
more.
whether I agree
At
with
my
it or
office,
not.
like when Candy.
Sure.
I go to Candy and like Candy,
that a
like
dog?
you're wise. You're wise. So I'm like Dandy. Let's go to Dandy. Like Dandy, you're wise.
Always
Like
a lady.
you're my business role model. Want you to tell me what do I do here? 100%. It's good. Like very worthwhile to have.
I think being open to other people's opinions and what they have to say, and then you take what you want.
Are we dealing with a generation with who? So are we dealing with a generation that was raised to resent their role models?
Well, which generation?
What's an example of that? When our generation went to yeshiva, all they would talk about is, and you're watching those sports, mamzerim, and you're the gambling and the drugs and the shtus and the gashmias, and you're an idiot and you're gonna die and blah 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 blah. Like that's what kind of rebellion most of us.
Where you went to
Get it, dude. This is the reality, sister. Yeah, you want to like? No, you don't want to. So you need to.
It's her first time on the podcast, so showing her the ropes.
It's gotta be close.
Gotta be closer.
You don't think most of the guys had rebellion like that, role models like that?
I've never been in yeshiva, so I wouldn't know, but I would sure hope that they don't talk to you that way. That's really sad.
They used to. I mean, not me.
It's
My
terrible.
friend. No,
Definitely
actually, a few of
not-
them talking
probably
like
not
that.
today, because then you know what happens.
Today,
if they
it's
do it
not
today.
like that.
You know what
yeah.
happens if
they're
they do
sweet.
that today.
Yeah.
No, what would happen if they do that today?
Oh, a kid would pull out his phone.
Oh no, they
The Rabbi would be on Yeshiva
No,
World News.
The Rabbi will be blamed for having that kid go off the derech. That's what.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that. Well, we have a lot of blaming.
Like
them.
everything you just said right now is like kosher in today's world.
Oh yeah.
Whatever.
No, it used to be kosher, not anymore. It used to be
Right, which
kosher.
is
It
why
for sure
what they
used to be
condemned
kosher.
then, everyone like Rabbi and whatever it is would wish that's what guys or girls would be interested in now, as opposed to the craziness in today's world. That's what I'm saying.
Like my argument that I'm trying to promulgate in a way, I guess, is this is for the guys out there, and I just gave a case for the guys. For the girls, I'm sure when you were in seminary, there was a principal or a Rebbe or a Morah who was was a role model to you. Like, hey, that's someone I would like to be like, or I strive to follow their teachings and all that. And this lady used to chase you down in the halls, measuring your skirt. No, making it right, measuring
You
the
have
skirt.
that?
I mean, first of all, those people were not my role models.
Well, okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Secondly,
That's what the people wanted to know.
did I have that? I think they were just doing their job. I don't know. I don't know if I cared that much.
That's what they said in Auschwitz. Anyway, I
What
think
do you have to say on this matter? 'Cause
Yeah,
you
you can
definitely
chime in.
have something
I
to say.
think I grew up very differently than in town. We didn't have
Well, are you in town or out of town?
out of town.
Where, like?
I grew up in Baltimore.
Oh, you want? Okay, admit to that. Baltimore, nice. Okay, cool. So Baltimore, if you're, yeah, it's definitely out of town, but it's got like in town vibes also. Meaning it's
Now
such a
there
big
is,
place,
but it
you know?
it didn't used to be like that. True. Now it is. But I haven't
I'd
lived
say
there
so.
in
If
years.
you're over 25, you may have a case. If you're younger than 25, it's like, I don't know your age, but I'm just saying like that's how people would probably decipher it.
So when I was there, there was no in-towniness. Like it wasn't like it is now.
And it's so you like, was it a black hat community and all, or I don't know.
No, it wasn't. It was people that wore black hats and people that didn't, and
everyone lived in harmony.
In harmony, yeah.
Wow.
I had friends that their parents would pick them up at carpool. The mom was in jeans. Another one that the father came to pick them up in carpool with the long curly payas, and it was one big community. It wasn't like here where you send to one school where everybody dresses and looks and talks the exact same.
Yeah, it's so crazy. That's one thing that I've picked up on recently, that's how they all dress. Like the women and even the guys, even the men. Like the men, the men have to like wear black pants, dark pants, and like a very tight, very, very tight shirt, a few buttons popping off.
Tight shirt. We're up to tight pants already. You're behind
Dad
times.
bod. They need the dad bod. They need the dad bod, and they got to be bald. And I'm like, I'm not bald. I don't wear black pants. I'm like, I wear shirts that fit me.
By the way, speaking about where we grew up, it was similar. Everyone just did their own thing. It wasn't like everyone looked the same, talked the same, dressed the same.
You and I, yes, for sure.
We're going to have to start wrapping up.
Oh, yeah, we got okay, fine. Shabbat is early. All right, so, and here's a good one. When role models go off the rails, what do you do?
Choose a new one.
It's hard. It's sad.
Have you witnessed it?
Not necessarily like a role model, but somebody that you really respect, and then you get older and you find out certain things about them, or you notice, or you're more aware, and it's like eye-opening, and it's
sad.
It's sad, yeah. But like Figgy was saying, I never had one person that was the role model, and like, devastation. There goes my one person. So
that's why I think it's important for senior shidduch daters. You get to that, you get 5-6 years in, you're getting older. Like it's time to putting the faith and I guess everything into yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like you have to be the buck stops here.
You're a role model.
Yeah. Yes.
Or a role model.
Like me in 5 years, that's who I want to be. Like me, this is me in 5 years. That's my role model. That's who I want to be. And I know where I'm going to go and get whatever influence I need. This person, that person, whatever. That's where I'm going to get it from. Make sense, Paige?
Well said. Yeah, I agree 100%.
Amen. Amen.
Yes, very much so. I mean, I work with a lot of kids, and I always like I daven, like I have such an influence on them. I don't realize it now, but when they grow up, and they may not realize it now, they're gonna remember things I say, I do, how I make them feel. Like I'm maybe their role model.
Yeah.
So it's a lot
totally.
of not pressure, but like a lot of responsibility, and that almost like shapes like the way I want to lead my life. Like I'm not just looking to be a preacher. I don't want to ever be a preacher. I don't think preachers get anywhere in life, because at the end of the day, if someone, like you said, notices and sees, all they did was talk and they're actually not following what they're, speak about and preach about, you almost like just drop them as your role model, and you just, that's it, move on to someone else. So I very much try to like, if I'm telling them off or teaching them something, I want to be that person myself. Like I want to be that positive.
Amen.
I want to, make good choices, choose my words, just be respectful of others, and not just have them and remind them that they respect the elders, but I have to be respectful of others also. And what they see, I hope will, influence them to make good choices. I
love the way you put that. It totally makes sense to me. I remember things I still learned in like when I was younger person,
Right.
a child, and a child or whatever. I remember having that. You're so right. It's important to, and that's really what it comes down to. It's like you are an influence, not just on yourself. You're a role model, not just on yourself, but who else are you a role model for? People are watching. I start off and I tell people, like, we had if there's a younger person who kind of pops up, I'll tell them right away. I'm like, I'm not a role model. Don't look at me.
But they may.
Don't look at that. I'm not, because I don't want that responsibility. We don't know each other. If it's maybe like some time of investment with each other, we work together, we're in projects together, we've done things, we've accomplished things. Yeah, at that point, I'm willing to say, yeah, like if you want me as your role model, tell me where to sign. But until then, it's like, dude, not me. I think it's really significant. You could upset that person the rest of your life. You could make them as fraud of a human being. They'll never be settled again in their mind. They're just going to always be thinking, well, look how this guy did this. Look how this person did that.
Right, but if you tell someone, you can say, cover for yourself, I'm not your role model, but at the end of the day, people will choose who their role model is, whether or not that person wants to be that role model for them. And that's why, like, even more so, that responsibility. And, you hope everyone's a role model for someone, and you don't know who that person is going to be, which is why friends have such a big influence. Adults in children's lives have such an influence, even though they don't realize it, until later in life they start talking about that person. It's like, I didn't know you were even like paying attention to me. And it's like, I do this now because of that person. Or you know what? Those bad choices he made, they looked a lot of fun, and he just looked happy for me, and I went that way. I'm just thinking, like, I ate a meal by someone, and this parent was telling me how, like, her son, chose to have this type of friend as or this type of relationship with someone who they chose as the role model, and now they're acting just like that other person.
And she was not happy.
She wouldn't choose for them that friend.
She was fraud about it.
But you know what? That's out of her control. It's out of all of our controls. What minor, if you want to call them, are choosing, to look up to? What adult?
So I'm not a parent at all, not claiming to be. Was a counselor for many years in camp. That's pretty much all my claim that I have. But it is the parent's responsibility. It is the parent's fault.
But it's out of their control.
Whoever your children's friends are, that is very much your influence.
Well,
if you're treating your child like garbage, they might find scummy people. If you treat your kid very well, they might find very good people. And it could be the total vice versa. I was sitting with a bunch of guys the other day, and we're like, why don't we have a rich friend?
Yeah, that's always good.
Why? We're like, epiphany. Bro, we should have. Why? And we're like, maybe because our parents never were like, yo, you guys are rich. Rich mentality. Whenever there's a bachelor party, I have to tell you, make sure there's a rich friend around.
Last episode, 2 episodes ago. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, no, did you? No, I'm good, thank you. You're welcome to. This isn't. This show's not about me. It's about the people.
Something to add.
Okay, wow. Nechama agrees with everything. Great.
Great partner.
And let's just think what else.
Oh, is that the sun setting right there?
You're like, we got to go. Okay, fine. Shabbat Shalom then. I mean, it's about 50 minutes, so we're good. Yep. So Nobody Talks Shidduch podcast, Jews and Their Role Models, featuring Isaac, Paige, and our guest Nechama. Yeah, people find us on TikTok, Linktree, YouTube, Twitter at Shidduchim, and on Instagram at Nobody Talks Shidduchim. Locals, shidduchim.locals.com. We're everywhere. We're everywhere. Wherever you need us, send us money for Avery's dates. Avery will be here soon. Don't worry. Paige, thanks for joining us.
Thanks again for having me.
Where could the people find you?
Through you.
All right. As I usually end off, happy face, smiley face, silly face. This is the Nobody Talks Shidduchim podcast.
Yeah, no music.
I was playing it.